Hello, my name is Philip, and today we are going to look at one of the most useful grammar points that you, as a language learner, can ever learn: defining relative clauses. Let's start by looking at these three pictures. Can you see this? It's something which you use to store digital files on. It can be different shapes and sizes, but usually it's quite small. What is it? A memory stick. Can you see this person? It's someone who supports you as you learn new things. Sometimes they correct you, and they also give you the right information. Who is it? It's a teacher! Me! Can you see this picture? It shows a place where you go to make food. It usually has a sink and a cooker. What is it? A kitchen. A kitchen, not a chicken. A kitchen is a place where you make food. How many sentences can you see? 2. A kitchen is a place. 1. Where you make food is sentence number 2. What function does the second sentence have? Well, it describes the place, the kitchen. It defines the first sentence, so we call it a defining relative clause. A clause is just a fancy grammar term for a sentence. It's the same with the memory stick sentence. It's an object, sentence 1, which you use to store digital files on, sentence 2, which defines the object, a defining relative clause. And the same for the teacher. It's a person who supports you as you learn new things, a defining relative clause. So we use defining relative clauses to explain what an object, a person, or a place does or is. We use who for people, which for objects or animals, and where for places. Who, which, and where are relative pronouns, which means they are third person. So who is always followed by a verb in third person. For example, a doctor is someone who works in a hospital. A driver is someone who drives a car or a bus. But who is always followed by a verb. Which, on the other hand, can be followed by a verb in third person, or it can be followed by a subject and a verb. For example, a bus is something which takes you from one place to another, or a bus is something which you travel on. And we can use which for places too. For example, that's the shop which sells the best pizza in town, in my opinion at least. Where, however, is always followed by a subject and a verb. For example, that's the shop where you can buy the best pizza in town. Where, subject, verb. And we can use that instead of who or which, and it means the same thing. For example, a teacher is a person who supports your learning. It's the same as a teacher is a person that supports your learning. But we cannot replace where with that. That is very common in spoken English. However, bonus fact, do not use it too much. Apart from defining relative clauses, there are also non-defining relative clauses which you will learn about later on in the future. However, in non-defining relative clauses, we do not use that. And if you're curious, non-defining relative clauses give you extra information which you do not need. For example, Steve Jobs, who founded Apple, died in 2011. The who founded Apple is an extra piece of information. You can leave it out of the sentence. However, you cannot replace who with that in this sentence. So avoid the confusion and get used to saying who and which. Why do I think defining relative clauses are one of the most useful grammar points for you, a language learner? Well, because you can use them to describe words that you do not know in English. It's something which you use to get cash. What is it? A cash point, or a cash machine, or an ATM. It's a person who is in charge of a town. Who is it? A mayor. It's an adjective which describes the feeling when you want to sleep. How do you say it in English? Tired. It's a verb which describes the action which you do with your legs when you ride a bike. How do you say it in English? To pedal. It is a place where you can go on rides and have lots of fun. What is it called? A theme park, or an amusement park. It's a noun which you form from the adjective happy. What is it in English? Happiness. Happy is the adjective, happiness is the noun. And of course, you can use defining relative clauses to give more information. For example, Walt Disney is the man who won most Oscars, 22. Word order in English questions is the grammar topic, which I talked about in my first video in this series. Click up here to go and watch it. I think it's the second most useful grammar point. This is the park where we played football last weekend. Now it's your turn. Listen to my 5 questions/instructions and practice what you have just learned. Click on the video after each question so you have a little bit more time. Answer it, and then check your answers against the key which is in the description of the video below. Number 1. Can you complete this sentence with the correct relative pronoun? Number 2. Can you put these words in the correct order to make a sentence? Number 3. When do we use the relative pronoun that in defining relative clauses? Number 4. Can you write a definition of the word banana using a defining relative clause? And number 5. What is a clause? And that's defining relative clauses. I hope you feel a bit more confident describing words which you do not know in English, or simply giving more information. If you found the video useful, then give it a like and subscribe so you know when I release a new video. And on that note, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.